a really powerful film, gets the sort of period rights, wonderfully acted, and it leaves you with you feel the absence afterwards, especially since how things have played out in the subsequent 20 years, not just in Russia, but all over the world. And Sean Penn said something interesting that the film is kind of a call to arms, excuse me, a call to arms, but there's been so many call to arms lately, and so few show up. And it makes me wonder, are films like these still calls to arms in a world with fake news, in a world where you can report anything about, Donald Trump and nobody, it doesn't seem to do anything? I'm curious how it relates to today for you like that. I'll start with Maxine.
I still think whatever the climate, whatever the situation, we have got to still keep making films like this. You know what I mean? Even if it impacts on a couple of people, that is job done. But yeah, absolutely feel that I mean, it's a film, it's entertainment, and take from it what you will. But I believe these types of films still have to be made, and possibly more if possible.
Well, it's a film that's timeless. I mean, yes, it's true that it's absolutely relevant and it documents all the terrible lies that Putin told to justify the invasion of Chechnya and all the terrible things that were done that he lied about then, and this extraordinary woman. But actually, it's an inspiring story about an ordinary person who felt that they could make a difference, and then and it shows us her in the round with her family, with her children, what it does to her relationship and with her husband and stuff. So I don't know that it's of a particular time. It's certainly not a film that has to have has a political message. Hopefully, if you make a piece of art, if you hold the mirror up to nature and show us a piece of humanity, we feel less alone. We recognize ourselves in that. Many of us, all of us, when we're in confused places, look for profiling serial killers, which profiling inspiring people, and that's what this is.
Perfect. And I'm there's something universal about that conflict too that Anna has between following a passion, and her passion is so contagious, following a belief, and also dealing with the ramifications of that on a personal level with her family. Like I was reading an LA Times piece on Eric Swalwell needing security because he's afraid of, speaking out, what that might do to his family, but that's his calling. What was that like to navigate, Maxine, that emotional balance between family and calling?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it was. What was interesting was, being in that situation with especially the children's reaction. I think there's a scene where, Anna hits, she strikes out at Harry's character because he doesn't want her to go away. And feeling that element of having a calling and making a difference. And then feeling in many ways for me, I remember, a few people spoke to me, it was quite selfish what she did. And I was absolutely adamant it wasn't. You know what I mean? I was like, absolutely not. A family grown up, they can find their own way now, But I haven't got children. I've never been in that situation. So that's coming from, I suppose,
it might have been. It is a bit on one level, is because it's putting them either in physical or professional danger for their careers or possibly even their health. But on the other hand, she'd seen these appalling things playing out and mass graves and mass rape and stuff and felt she needed to report. So, depending on your perspective, it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I suppose where you're coming from, it can fit, and again, I suppose it's that fact of not, like you're saying, she's putting herself in danger, and then you're putting your family in danger as well. And that's where that line draws. But
it's very contemporary because a lot of people in countries, I'm speaking from New York, there's an awful lot of people who are changing the things they say, and tech companies are changing the things they report on or don't report and don't police, because they want to be ingratiate themselves with the White House. So there are people who are avoiding speaking out or the possible ramifications of challenging things they disagree with, just to have an easier life.
Yeah. But I love the sorry.
No. I was just going to say today the top producer at 60 Minutes resigned because doesn't think there's journalistic independence, with CBS settling and paying the Trump administration, $20 million. I wonder, do you ever think that did it cross your mind at all making this film? And do you ever think it'll come to a place where you have to choose between your own and your family's safety versus the art you want to make, Jason?
Yeah, the art I want to make, no, the things I say on social media, I've stopped being as vociferous because it's felt dangerous, in a certain climate. Yeah, there are things I would talk about if I wasn't an actor and I didn't want to be both financeable and, and I meet the public all the time. I go to conventions and I meet the public in public spaces, and there are crazy people out there. And so, will it compromise the art I want to make? But it hasn't so far. Might it? I don't know. I'm not particularly brave, and I've had a stalker a couple of times, and they weren't political. But it's perfectly possible. The things I've said. Maxine's also a very powerful activist and advocate, and we both know MPs. MP members of Parliament in Britain have been killed and stabbed for their views. So, can I picture a time? Yeah. Does it feel fantastical or far away? Not necessarily, but it hasn't happened so far.
Sam, I'm curious your response.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, absolutely. It's the censorship is very real. It's out there, and yes, I think for anybody in the public eye with an opinion, it can be it's a very precarious time. But yeah, I've personally, I have felt it, and I do, and I think people are worried for the jobs, and obviously for the safety. But yeah, I think, as Jason said, it's not a million miles away, and it's here. You know what I mean? It's the environment that we're in at the moment. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if you're an actor, international, traveling to the States, you might, you never know. A tweet could, put you.
People revoke your visa, or physical danger and professional danger lurks for everybody nowadays in ways that seemed unimaginable a few years ago.
Yeah. And I'm curious about her family. I know
By the way,
weren't.
Sorry, can we not draw a comparison between the fact that the risk that Anna puts herself in and a couple of actors? Let's be very clear. We're not on the same scale of danger. Sorry.
No, there are, countless heroes, her and Navalny, and so many different people in different areas. And then 175 journalists killed in Gaza. It's horrifying. And the sad thing is that so many people distrust journalists as a whole, and it kind of seems
as a whole, yeah,
thankless.
there's some that should be distrusted. One of the things that is important to educate young people, where do you go to reliable sources? Because anybody can put anything online, and you can create a masthead now with AI. You can make a site that looks legitimate. There are legitimate news organs, and they have really stringent corroborative requirements for things that they print. Not that they're not biased and that there isn't some self-selection process going on in editing, but it's important to educate a generation to look for something close to the truth, I think.
And I think that locates the real significance to me of Words of War, is just showcasing this passion for truth, when you took on the role, Maxine, and I'll leave you with this, was there any specific sort of archival footage, not only of her, but of the period? Was there any specific sort of unique trait that you really honed in on?
Trait that honed in, for me, just footage, going through the BBC News footage of what was happening in Chechnya at the time. That was the footage I was getting onto YouTube. That, was horrifying. And to be in that, you know what I mean? And then it was Anna's diaries, when Anna described the scenes, when there was a mock execution that she was involved in. And you think, how do you come back from that? She was thrown into a pit and told she was going to be shot. You know what I mean? Yet she carried on. Yeah. This isn't in the film, but she went through so much trauma you know, and for me, ah, how do you, you know, would I have carried on? Possibly not. I don't think so. I'm just a, you know, I'm an actor. I'm not brave. You know what I mean? But yeah. So just her the actual sort of experiences when she was in Chechnya. So it was on, you know, when she was back at home in Moscow, when she was away doing a job. The threat was just, you know, it was everywhere, and just how she kept tried to keep her family together because she was still a wife and a mother, you know. And so for me, it was that, what is that trait? What is that soul, that steel within somebody, that passion? So it was trying to, but then within the confines of the film is in many ways a domestic film about this relationship, about a husband and wife, about a family. So it was just trying to sort of juggle all those, but just keep it real, you know, try and keep it as well as real. I mean, real. I'm not Anna. We weren't in those situations, but to try and let the audience into this world and be able to connect on a level that they could understand. Yeah.
And you did it so well. And I think passionate truth seekers like her are only emboldened by these kinds of things. And that's contagious. So thank you for making the film, for
Thank
discussing it.
you.
I really appreciate you both.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.